guys, it's Michelle again. Thanks for joining me. Christmas is getting close, so now we're going to start doing some Christmas baking. So I thought I would do some videos with you and show you some of the recipes that we use, and just in case you're interested in them or not. Today the one I'm going to do is cherry blossoms, and it's something I do every year. And I thought I'd let you see how I do it, and it's so simple you won't believe it. Okay, so it calls for 2 bags of chocolate chips and 1 bag of semi-sweet chocolate chips. So I'm going to actually use, this is the chocolate that I use, Calgood, and I order it from a company called the Vanilla Company. So for the regular chocolate chips, I'm actually going to use, oops, sorry about that noise, I'm going to use the dark. They melt really well and they're very good actually, very tasty. I'm going to start with 24 ounces of this, which is equivalent to 2 bags of chocolate chips. So let's do this. 24 ounces is a lot, and this will make a ton of cherry blossoms. So feel free to cut this recipe in half, and we'll put the recipe below in the description box of the video. So we're going to do 24 of these. 24 bang on. Then I'm going to do 12 ounces of this, which is the milk chocolate. Okay, the combination of the two is really good because it makes the cherry blossoms not overly sweet, but we'll try it and you'll see. It's very good. Okay, let me zero this out again. I use a scale. 12 ounces of this. So I'm going to set these aside. To this is something that I do. I add a package or 12 ounces of peanut butter chips, and the recipe originally actually calls for 2 packages of the chocolate chips and 1 package of the semi-sweet. So this is my recipe. I also add 12 ounces of the peanut butter chips to it. So I'm going to add this in here. I use a stainless steel bowl because I like to actually sit it over a pot of simmering water, not boiling hot water, but simmering water. And I let this just very slowly melt. Don't do it too quickly because you'll actually ruin the texture of the chocolate and it won't temper properly. But this is the best thing to do. Here I go. I've got the pot of water here all set to go, and I'm just going to push that back there. Now guys, that we have our chocolate on melting, every once in a while I will go to the stove and give it a stir. I've got the heat down on medium, and just let it very slowly melt and take its time. Don't rush it because you will burn it, okay? Now I'm going to actually measure out in here 2 cups of pecans. These are pecans that I've already toasted in the oven. I put them in on 350 for 8 minutes. I tend to roast my nuts whenever I'm not going to be using them for cooking or baking, because the heat will actually bring the oils out and enhance the flavor of the nuts you're using. So if I'm using nuts, for example, for a salad or something like that, I'll toast them in the oven. If I'm using them to bake and it's going to go in the heat, in the oven or in a pan or whatever, I don't bother toasting them because the heat from the oven or whatever will already bring the oils out. Carry on with our cherry blossoms. I'm going to add 2 cups of toasted pecans to the food processor. And I'm not very good at pouring these, I'll tell you. Another cup. To this, I'm also going to add 2 cups of coconut, and this is unsweetened coconut. If you have sweetened and that's all you have, I've used it, you don't notice much of a difference at all. Just use 2 good sized cups. And we're just going to pulse these up finely when it's done in the food processor. Okay, that's another, let's do a little bit more. Who's going to notice? There we go. We'll put the lid on with this and pulse it. Okay, I'll be back when we're finished pulsing it. You don't want to hear this noise. We've pulsed the pecans and the coconut, and this is what it looks like. It's actually quite nice, fine. And I just want to show you the maraschino cherries that I use are these ones. I get them at Costco. You don't have to use these ones in particular. Just use any ones that you like, and these ones work out well for me. And what I do is I strain them, and I strain them well. So these have been strained twice. Yesterday I put them in and I strained them, and then again today I did it. And if you like the juice in your cherry blossoms and that icing mix and that sort of thing, you can maybe not strain them quite as much, and you'll save some of the liquid, and it'll actually go into the cherry blossom center. Now what we're going to do, guys, is I'm going to take you to the stove, and we're going to melt down the chocolate chips and the peanut butter chips, and just keep stirring them. We want to make sure that they don't burn. And let's take a look at those and make sure that they're doing all right. And then we'll bring you back and we'll mix it all up, and I'll show you just how easy it is to do it. It's so simple, you won't believe it. Well, guys, this is the chocolate. We're just going to keep stirring it as it slowly melts. And as I said, the stove is on, actually it's on low. And the heat that's coming up from the water in the bottom is going to be plenty to melt that chocolate without burning it. That's the key thing, because it will leave a burnt. And just to show you, this is how much water I have in the bottom. Okay. So we're back. This is what the chocolate looks like now that it's all melted up, and it looks delicious. You see that it still has a nice shine to it, and that's because we melted it slowly and we didn't burn it. A lot of people will actually melt it in the microwave as well. Just put it in a microwave safe dish and melt it 30 seconds at a time, and take it out and stir it and put it back in and melt it again. Okay, so now here's what we're going to do. We're going to pour all of this delicious chocolate and peanut butter in with those pecans and coconut that we had in the food processor. There we go. And now let's mix this all together. As I said, feel free to cut this recipe in half because it does make a lot. But if you want to do trays to share with other folks for Christmas and that sort of thing, this is a perfect recipe for it. Now you can do this in molds. I've actually, over the years, I've always done it with mini cups, the paper ones, and it works perfectly. So here are the mini cups that I use, and you can get different ones. And what I do is, at the end of Christmas, when everything is on sale, this is when I actually will purchase all of these things. Last year, I was actually lucky enough to get this on sale at the end of the year. And these are so cute, and you'll see later we'll unmold them. But these are perfect for this recipe as well. So let's start assembling them. And as I said, you see how simple it is, right? 2 things in the food processor. You melt your chocolate chips, your peanut butter chips. If you wish to add them, I'll put both recipes below, the original one and the one that I use with the peanut butter chips, and your cherries. And that's it, it's done. So I'm gonna grab my small scoop that I use, and we'll be right back. So here we are, guys. It's so simple. You just put a little bit in, something to nestle the cherries in. And here we are. This can be a bit messy, so if you make a mess, don't worry about it. Cleanup is easy, and it's well worth it. This is one of those things as well that you can't stop at one. Keep them in the freezer if you like. If you want to make them ahead, I would suggest you keep them in the freezer. And I just package them up in the tins, and I don't even bother putting paper between the layers because especially these are already in paper, right? And these ones here, they're pretty solid. So I'm going to fill these up. I'm gonna set that aside. And now I'm going to do these. These are a little bit larger than these, but they're still not that big. Just a couple of bites. So I'll come back when these are all filled up, and then we'll put the cherries in and top them up again with a little bit more of the chocolate mixture. They're all filled. Now I'm just gonna do this to level out the chocolate, and I do the same thing here. Let me put just a, and you can see that just flattens it out, right? And now we're gonna put our cherries in, and that's it. It's done. Top it up with a little more. See how easy that is? Just pop them right in. Every year I have to figure out which recipes I'm gonna do. I have like a huge binder filled with Christmas recipes that I've made at some point or another. This is one that I make every year. And I'm going to do these ones. The same thing, exact same process. And as I said, if you like them with more of the syrup inside, don't drain them too well. Let them keep some of the liquid and pop them in, and the liquid will be inside the cherry. So I'm just gonna, let's top these up so you can see what they look like when they're done. We don't need a whole lot on the top of these. The important thing to do is going to be to pick them up and drop them to take any of the air bubbles out. Okay, a few more. Like I said, real simple. Pick it up, drop it a few times. A few of them may need to be topped up a little bit. And that is ready for the refrigerator. I'm going to do the same with these, and when we come back, I'll show you what they look like when they're finished. They've hardened and they're ready to eat.